Hi guys, in this video we'll be working with math operators and variables by writing a program that converts your age to dog years. So in other words, you will be writing a program declaring variables, setting the value to your real age, and the program will do the conversion to dog years for you. Let's get straight into it. So what I've done is I've pretty much broken the task down step by step for you to complete. And this is actually from codecademy.org. So if you're taking the JavaScript course on Codecademy, at a point in time, you'd have to complete this challenge. So let's get straight into it. Of course, we'll be using our Eclipse. So when you open Eclipse, you go to File, you go to New, and you go to New Java Project. And let's call these dogyears, whatever, and finish. Now it's going to ask me if I want to create a model name. I would say yes. Now, if you look at the side, you'll see that I have the project folder on the side. I'm going to right click the project folder, go to new, and I will scroll all the way down to class. We've talked about class, right? Imagine if you're on a website like Facebook, it's got multiple pages, or even managed by multiple pages. So each of those pages can be considered a class. So we need a page that we are going to write our program, and that's why we are going to create a new class by right-clicking on the project folder, go to new, and then you select class. All right, and we'll give our class a name. Humandogyears or something like that. Now, for the public static void main argument, I'll make sure I check that, because if I don't check public static void main string argument, I would have to type that out myself, and I don't want to have to type that out. So I just make sure it's checked, and I'll say finish, and I should have this code automatically generated for me. So just a quick explanation. The first line, package dogyears, is saying that this class is saved in a folder on my computer called dogyears, which is the folder you can see right here. Now, this class, that is this page, is humandogyears, which was what we created, and this is the opening of the method, and my program will start from here. And this is just a comment which I'm going to delete because it's unnecessary. Now, mind you, your program must be inside of the method. What does that mean? These two curly brackets, you cannot type anything outside of the two curly brackets. It's not going to execute. So all your program must stay in the curly bracket. All right. So let's look at step one. Step one is saying create a, let me zoom it in a little bit so that you see it well. All right. So step one is saying create a variable named myAge and set it equal to your age as a number. Write a comment that explains this line of code, and I've dropped the hints for you, which is data type, variable name, and value. All right, so to create a variable name myAge and set it to equal your age as a number. All right, again, so don't forget the data type. We have integer for whole number, and we have double for decimal. I'm just going to go with int because for this program I don't really want to I guess I don't want it to return like a decimal value, right? So I'm just going to go with my age as that the 1st of January this year. So I'll say int myAge, which is the variable name, which could be anything, and I will set the value to 31. All right, and I'll close it. Step 2 says create a variable named earlyYears and save the value 2 to it. Note that the value saved to this variable will change. You're told to write a comment that explains this line of code. So, okay, create a variable named earlyYears and the value should be 2. So to do that, I would say int earlyYears, and I'll set it to 2. And for each line of code, it says we should leave a comment to explain each line of code. So to leave a comment, don't forget you need 2 front slashes, space, another 2 front slashes, right? And whatever you type in the middle of the set of front slashes would be considered a comment. What that means is that it's not going to execute as part of the program. So if I say this line sets a variable, this line creates the myAge variable. All right, I could say this line creates early years and set it to 2 or something. All right, so that is it for comments. I will not be leaving comments on the other ones just to save time, because I'm trying to make this video very short. But I reckon you leave some comments in yours, because that will let you understand what you've done and be able to read your program later on. All right, so step 3 says you should use you should use the multiplication assignment operator to multiply the value saved to early years by 10.5. All right, and you should reassign it to early years. Now, so this variable early years, to avoid mistyping it, I'm just going to click it twice. All right, and everything will be selected, and I'll copy it. And now it says early years multiplied by 10.5. Multiplication assignment operator to multiply the value saved to early years by 10.5. Well, what that means is that early years times 10.5. All right, and then it says and reassign it to early years. So what that means is that this early years variable will be equal to early years multiplied by 10.5. Now, you may be asking yourself that, what does that even mean? Just a minute, please. And I'm going to need to add a cast of int, because this is 10.5, so it's double. So just use the suggestion. If you click on this suggestion and you add cast to int, you will see that the bug will disappear. The reason why we have the bug is because I had used a decimal value here. Let me take this out, for example. Let's say I had made early years double instead. You'll see that we would not have the bug, because there's a decimal and it's recognizing that, okay, well, it can return a decimal value. But because these are specified integer, it was expecting that it would only return an integer, that is a whole number, so wasn't expecting a decimal. Anyway, let's continue. So what we've done here, and I don't need to put this in bracket because this is the only operation I want to perform. So what this line of code, line 9, what it means is that early years, which is 2 as at this time, multiplied by 10.5. So the new value of early years will be 21 here. For example, if I say sys out, control space, if you're using JDoodle, you'll have to type in that line, and I double click and I copy early years and I print it out. Let's see what gets printed. Let's see what it returns. All right, it should return 21.0. I hope you understand how we arrived at that. What you should know in Java is that the value will always be on the right and the variable will always be on the left. Now, you may be wondering, why didn't we specify a data type for the variable in line 9? Well, we wouldn't need to do that because we are not creating this variable. It has already been created. What we are doing is we are updating the value. So let's move on to step 4, please. Step 4 says, since we accounted for the first 2 years, take the myAge variable and subtract 2 from it. Okay, so I would say myAge, double click, copy, and it says I should subtract 2 from it. Okay, minus 2, and I will end the argument, and it says set the result equal to a variable called later years. Now that's interesting because we don't have a later years variable. So what that means is that I'm creating a new variable called later years, and this would be the value. So I will say equals, right? So that's the value, and I will say double later years equals myAge minus 2. All right. So that's what that means. So let's move on to step 5. Multiply the later years variable by 4 to calculate the number of dog years accounted for by your later years. Use the multiplication assignment operator to multiply and assign in one step. Write a comment to explain this line of code. Multiply the later years variable by 4 to calculate the number of dog years accounted for by your later years. Alright, so The same thing we've done for early years is technically what we've been told to do here. So we are updating the value of later years to later years multiplied by 4. Alright, so if later years, the value of later years here is my age, which is 31 minus 2, that would be 29. So 29 multiplied by 4, that is 29 multiplied by 4, that is 96. That's what it's going to return. Sorry, don't quote me on that math, but let's seize out later years and see what it returns anyway. $116. All right, terrible math. 29, of course. 25 times 4 is 100, and 4 times 4 is 16. So that will return 116. Perfect. Okay, so let's move on to the next step. Step 6 is telling you to add early years and later years together and store that in a variable named myAge in dogyears. All right, so you're creating a new variable, double. Whenever you're creating a new variable, of course, you need to specify the data type. In this case, it's double myAge in dogyears. All right, equals what? myAge in dogyears equals later years plus early years. So I'll copy later years plus early years, and that's myAge in dogyears. All right. So if I print out myAge in dogyears, let me see. Sys out control space. So myAge in dogyears will be 137. Wow, I'm that old. So if I was a dog, I would be 137 years old. That's interesting. Now, that's not... so let's look at the next step. It says, let's use a string method next. Write your name as a string. Call it inbuilt to lowercase and store the results in a variable called myName. The lowercase method return a string with all lowercase. Write a comment that explains this line of code. So it wants me to create a new variable and call it myName. All right. So I would say string myName equals, and I'll put that in quotes, Adenuga, and I'll end the argument. All right, so string myName equals Adenuga, and let me see if I print out myName, it should say Adenuga right there. Now we're looking at method. It says let's use a string method next. Write your name as a string and call it built-in method to lowercase. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do to make this make sense for you, let me put everything like this. Adenuga, all capital. So now, if instead of just printing out my name variable, if I put a period, you will see that I have many options, right? But what it wants me to do is it wants me to call to lowercase. So if I put a period and I say, sorry, period 2, you will see that the second one says to lowercase, right? If I click on that and I run this program, it's going to return, even though I have saved these in the variable as all capital, it's going to return it as all lowercase. All right, so that's what method is. Again, we'll be diving more into method in the future, so I'm trying to keep this short. So we'll be diving more into method in the future. You're supposed to write a system.out print in dogyears using string interpolation to display the value in the following. My name is, so I'm just going to copy these, all right, and I'm going to take all of these out and I'll put it there. Oopsies, let me minimize it a bit so we'll see what it's saying. My name is, so for name, it says we should replace name with the variable my name. All right, my name is, so I would replace that. Don't forget, for string, everything has to be in double quotes, start, double quotes, ending. My name is, and I'll put a space. So for name, it says replace name with my name. So I'll copy this variable my name and I'll put a plus operator because we're joining a string to the value of a variable, and I'll put my name right there and put another plus. Right, don't forget that everything needs to be in string for it to be considered a string. Everything needs to be in quote for it to be considered a string. So what this is going to do is it's going to print out my name is. It will print out this text. Then it will put the variable my name, which is Adenuga, and it will print out all of these as well. All right. Now we also told to replace humandogyears with myAge. All right. So we're told to replace this variable humandogyears with myAge. So that would mean I put something here, a space of course, and I'll put a plus. And instead of humandogyears, I want it to be myAge. And I'll just put my age variable. So if I print this, let's actually print this so you see what's going on step by step. Oopsies, oopsies. Let's see. Oh, of course, there's no plus operator, right? So there needs to be a plus operator when you interpolating a string and a variable. So let me run this. Let's see. So it's going to say my name is Adenuga. I am, of course, I need to put a space here. My name is Adenuga. All right. I could actually put a period and then a space. My name is Adenuga. I am 31 years old in human years. Now let's see what's going on. So I've replaced human age with my age, and dog age with my age, and dog years. Okay. In human years. Which is, so we're told to replace dog age, so I'll put a string here, and instead of dog age, we said we're told to replace it with my age and dog years. So I'll copy my age and dog years and I'll put it there instead. Of course, don't forget the plus operator. All right, and don't forget to put your string, otherwise this won't be considered as a text. All right, so now if I run this program, let's see what I get. My name is Adenuga. I am 31 years old in human years, which is 137 years old in dog years. Now, what I could do is I need to put a space after years. Also, let's see, which is, I also need to put a space after is, and we could have a nice sentence right there, maybe a run over. All right. Anyway, so that is it for this task, and you're told to copy and submit your, and the junior step, of course. Now, let's say you want to use the scanner method to allow for user input. So instead of just doing it for 31 years old, what I could actually do is I could say, and of course, we've been working with the scanner for a while now. So capital scanner, small scanner, equals new, all lowercase, scanner, capital scanner, then have your bracket and put system, capital S, dot, of course, input stream, which allows you, if you read input stream, it says this stream is already open and ready to supply input data. Typically, this stream corresponds to keyboard input, right? So you want to allow for keyboard input, and you just put that there and close. All right. Now, you see that Eclipse is asking you to import. Of course, if you click on the notification, the red flag, it's asking you to import scanner utility, which of course you'd have to do that to be able to use the scanner. So import, and it adds a line of code to your line 3. Now I'm just going to sys out and say sys out, because what I want is, I want a prompt to actually say enter your age in human years, right? So let's run it so you see what happens. So it says enter your age in human years, right? So instead of putting this 31, I'm actually going to say, so enter your age in human years. I'm actually going to say int my age should be whatever the user enter next. So that would be scanner dot next int. That is, whatever integer the user enter next should be the value saved in my age. All right, so just that 2 lines of code or 3 lines of code can really change everything about your program. So now if I run this program now, let's run it real quick. It's telling you to enter your age in human years, and if I say 10, enter, then it says my name is Adenuga. I am 10 years old in human years, which is 53 years old in dog years. Of course, if I don't want it to say my name is, I could just take out all of that altogether and just make it display you are blah 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 in dog years. Okay, so thank you guys. I was really trying to make this short, but of course ended up